Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. Today I wanted to talk about Sasquatch feeding sign, and essentially what that is sign or indicators that Sasquatch have been in an area feeding, looking for food. John Bindernagel talked about it a bit in his book, and he has a really cool case that he wrote about, and there's some images as well. It took place in the Mount Hood National Forest in Oregon back in 1967, and I'll just read that passage for you guys from his book here. It says, in October 1967, Glenn Thomas, who had been supervising the construction of a forestry road in the area, had taken a break and walked up a trail through the forest. Arriving at the edge of a rock-covered clearing, he observed two adult Sasquatches, accompanied by a juvenile, digging in the rocks. The adult Sasquatches were picking up the rocks, sniffing them, then replacing them. But the rocks were not returned to their original location. Rather, they were piled in short stacks. The largest Sasquatch, apparently a male, appeared to detect an odor on one of the rocks it had picked up. After sniffing it, the Sasquatch began to dig a deep pit in the rocks with his hands and arms. Eventually, it used its hands to remove from the pit handfuls of nesting material composed of dried vegetation, from which all three Sasquatches extracted and ate whole a number of hibernating ground squirrels. When the Sasquatches noticed Thomas, they abandoned their feeding activity and quickly moved away across the rocks and into the forest. Thomas concluded that it was the sniffing of rocks which had led to the discovery of a ground squirrel hibernation site. So according to this, the Sasquatch will sniff the rocks and use, that scent to determine where the ground squirrels are hibernating. And so they know which rocks they've already sniffed, they put them in piles. The problem with this is that throughout the forests of North America and, many other parts of the world, humans love to stack rocks. We like to build cairns, we think it's cool and artsy, and I don't know. I've hiked up many, many mountains, and at the tops of these mountains, I've found multiple, rock cairns that I guarantee you were made by people. However, it's something I haven't thought about. When I'm out hiking, I don't usually think that it's a Sasquatch sign. If I see a rock cairn, I automatically think it's made by people. To me, it's a sign of people, but, it hasn't crossed my mind. Maybe I've seen a rock pile that I kind of brushed off as being human-made, and it was made by a Sasquatch. I don't know. It's very interesting. The thing with this story is that the gentleman, Glenn Thomas, actually, claims to have observed the Sasquatch doing it. That's the interesting thing. It's one thing to speculate that they're stacking these rocks, but to actually see them is another story. Another interesting thing, when I was talking to Ken Walker a while back when I was making the Expedition Sasquatch 2 video, he told me that if you're in the Nordegg area, along the Cardinal River, close to the Alberta habituation site there, if you see rock piles along that river, it means there's Sasquatch in the area. It means they're close by. And if you go there and there's no rock piles, if the rock piles are down, they're gone. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Sometimes the rock piles will be there, sometimes they won't be. I've never observed this, so I don't know, the legitimacy of it, but it might be worth trekking along the Cardinal River, to try and locate rock piles. Have you guys ever found any weird rock piles out in the wilderness? I mean, we know Sasquatch apparently like to throw rocks. They like to use it as a way to deter people from an area. When we think of Sasquatch sign, we usually think of tree structures, tree breaks, tree twists, footprints, things of that nature. The rock pile thing is really hard to distinguish from human-made rock piles because it's something that humans have been doing since, we could figure out how to use our hands. If there are Sasquatch out there, I don't see why they wouldn't use rock piles to, mark things, mark certain territory, maybe mark trails, I don't know. It's just an interesting anecdote that I thought I would share with you guys. Another thing I wanted to say is I got a hold of a virtual reality headset for a few days here. My girlfriend brought it home from work, and she uses it at work to, she's a recreation therapist, and she runs a day program for seniors, and they use the virtual reality set to allow them to have experiences that they wouldn't normally be able to have in their normal lives, because they can't really travel anywhere, so I've been using the Google Earth VR thing, and I've been kind of looking around the Nordegg area, and it's cool because I can drop myself like on ground level, basically in the locations that I want to explore. And it kind of gives me a sense of the topography, and it allows you to like plan your routes in a way that's way cooler than just doing it on like a normal computer screen. I know it's not totally accurate and it has its flaws, but it's a really cool way to scout out certain areas, you know, check the terrain, see if it's possible to hike in certain areas. I think it would be a handy tool to have on the regular. The weird thing is though, like when I wear this virtual reality headset, especially like there's some games on it on this computer we have here, and when I use it and I play those games, it scares me because I can see myself, if I owned a virtual reality headset, I can see myself getting addicted to it. Like I'll put this thing on and I'll start like using the Google Earth thing, or I'll put on a game, and then, you know, before I know it, hours have gone by. And it's like crazy. It's like the holodeck on Star Trek. You know, we're not that far away from being in the Matrix, I think. But anyways, very interesting. It's cool though. It's cool technology, but I think, you know, you have to be really careful if you own a virtual reality headset because you get sucked right in. And using this headset here, I was thinking it'd be really cool. You know, the DJI drones, they have the DJI headset. So when you're flying your drone, you can wear that headset and kind of get a bird's eye view while you're flying it. It'd be a really cool way to scout areas out in the field, and, you know, to have eyes in places where you normally wouldn't. You know, you could fly it over a certain area that'd be really difficult to hike to and kind of scan around basically in real time. You know, you might be able to catch something. Really cool stuff. You know, technology is getting so advanced, and as it gets more advanced, it might be easier to find this creature, but we'll see what happens. If you want to see Wildman, the Bigfoot Odyssey, check it out at realhouse.org. Link is down below in the description. Or if you want to support the channel, check out the Patreon link below. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for watching this episode of Mountain Beast Mysteries. We'll see you next time.